Hello everyone, I'm Kathryn and welcome to Book Dissect, where I read books, analyze them, and pick out the good and the bad to help you be a better writer. Today I'm dissecting Fingersmith by Sarah Walters. And a warning before you begin, there will be spoilers ahead, so if you're one of those people that cannot read a book without knowing the plot and all the interesting tidbits in it, then stop the video now and go read the book, because it was a good read. I enjoyed the book. Alrighty then, if you're still watching, I'm guessing that you don't care about spoilers, so I'm gonna ruin the book for you. One of the things that this book has going for it is that it would fit into the diversity box, and if you're somebody who wants to add more diversity to your books, I would highly suggest reading this one because I think it shows how to do it without it coming off as stereotypical or fetishy. Because frankly guys, that's one of the reasons why I'm so completely against the whole diversity move, because if you don't have experience in a situation, then just don't write about it. Because people who do, it always shows in your writing because it will come off as stereotypical or fetishy, and you don't want that. And this has lesbian themes. The way that the relationship blossomed was just so beautiful and natural, and it felt real. And that's important because I've read a couple lesbian fantasy novels, and more often than not, it comes off feeling weird and like ew, but this, it was so beautiful, and I was so happy when they got together at the end, because I was gonna be like, oh my gosh, if they don't get together, like it's just not worth living, because they needed to get together, guys, because love. So yeah, I'd highly recommend it for that. But I'm going to complain about the editing and formatting of this book. So this book starts out with 10 pages of an info dump. Can I just say, like, the book could have started without the first 10 pages and you wouldn't have missed anything except the plot of the book. Because maybe if you've never read a book, or if you've never watched a soap opera or seen any type of romantic movie, then the first 10 pages will go right over your head. But for me, I was like, oh, I bet this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and I guessed the whole plot of the book, and I was genuinely disappointed to be right, because it sort of made the reading experience really boring. She could have taken all the information from there and just sort of slowly sprinkled it throughout the book. So after the info dump, you have part 1 that's written by Sue, part 2 that's written by Maud, and part 3 that's written by Sue. The best way that I can even describe this is by recommending a video called Passengers. It's all in the editing, and I will put it in the link below. But the video in question is a critique on the movie Passengers, and it stated that if the movie would have started when Jennifer Lawrence's character woke up and focused on her experience of the world, and then gone back to show Chris Pratt's character, that it had more of a creepy, sort of suspenseful feeling of the movie than what it was, which is just like, it wasn't a bad movie, but when you watch this video, you see just the potential that the video could have had if they just sort of messed with the editing a bit. And that's how I feel about this book, because overall the story is actually really good, but I think it could have been a lot better if they switched around the parts of the book. The way this book is set up is that you have your info dump, and then part 1, which is told from the point of view of Sue. Her part stops when she gets sort of screwed over and is getting sent to an insane asylum. And then part 2 opens up on Maud, and part 2 is almost in the same format as part 1, in that it really starts from the beginning for Maud when she is growing up, and it has this whole summary thing. But it basically retells the first part of the story from her point of view. And then her part ends when she ends up back at Sue's house. But then we go back to Sue, and we go back to when she's in the insane asylum. And at least for me, this was a very jarring jump, because when Sue gets sent to the insane asylum, I was like, ooh, what happens there? And it turns out we went back in time to learn about Maud, and then while we're reading about Maud, we get the insane asylum from her point of view, and then it just sort of goes past, and so all this interesting stuff is happening. And when it ends, it's like, ooh, what's happening? And then you just have, I think it was almost 4 chapters of just blah, 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 of Sue's time in the insane asylum. And I'll be honest, guys, I skipped one whole chapter of her just being in the insane asylum, because at that point in the story, I really didn't care, because we were past that in the story. I wanted to know what was happening next. I wanted her to get back to her house so that we could find out why her foster mother was screwing her over. That's my overall complaint, because I think if the story started from the point of view of Maud, just went to Sue and kept going with Sue, that it would have been more compelling and more interesting. Because the way that it jumped, Sue's point of view in the 3rd part of the book, I didn't care about, because it was like, we're past this. I want to know, like, are they going to get together? Like, yeah, it was just, because at least the last part was really thick, so I kept thinking, well, obviously she has to escape, and she's going to confront Maud in some way, shape, or form, because that's how books work. It was frustrating because it seemed like everything was very anticlimactic. That doesn't mean it wasn't a good read, though, because I did overall enjoy the book. I feel like this is the book example of the Passenger's critique of it's all in the editing. If you've read this book, you'll have to tell me what you think in the comments below, or if you want, you could even watch it in its entirety on YouTube for free. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, family, and strangers on the internet. Hit the red button to subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, but come back on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays anyway, because that's when I release new videos. For your convenience, I will be leaving an Amazon affiliate link to the book in the description below, and if you're gonna buy something from Amazon, consider using my link, because at no extra price to you, I can get a commission, which helps support the channel. You can also find all my social media in the description below. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and I keep a blog where I continue the conversation, so you guys should always check that out. That's what I have for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tootsies, my applesins. Isn't this what you were wearing in yesterday's video? Indeed, observant viewer. This is exactly what I was wearing, because this is what happens when you shoot 2 videos in a row and you're just way too lazy to change your clothes. Oh, I broke the magic of YouTube.